We're in Easthampton, Massachusetts today. We're at the East Street Cemetery. East Street is not quite near here, but it used to. And we're outside of this East Street Cemetery for the first grave. It says Samuel James, left for dead by the Indians after the Pascumic Massacre, May 13, 1704. The first person to begin the resettlement of Pascumic in 1717. Died in AD 1776, age of 83 years old. So this is Samuel James. There's a lot of James family members in Easthampton because of Samuel. So he was one of the first settlers, and the Native Americans killed off a lot of those first settlers, even though they were in a big stockade fence. The natives came in and killed them all. And this person will return very bravely 13 years later and start the real settlement of Easthampton itself. And Easthampton would, about 4 decades later, would actually become a community. So that's wonderful to know. Now, we're outside this cemetery. We're going to go near the gates now. Okay, you can see a plaque on the gates. The gates were put up, and I'll read it to you since it's very faint. It says, "Gateway and fence erected by Jerome and Margaret Lyman in memory of Elijah Austin Lyman and Sophronia Lyman, 1935. All right, that was a nice gift, and we'll just scan down the fence. So they gave the whole fence and the beautiful pillars to the cemetery. Now, the Lyman family also is very strong in Easthampton, but they're also strong everywhere in Hampshire County. And remember, they gave the gates also. They need maybe a paint job at this point. Now we're going to walk a little bit into the cemetery. Okay, so now to our left and in front of us, we can see a tomb, all right? And there's a lot of tombs in Hampshire County. This one's an earthen tomb, of course, with masonry rock in front, looks like granite. And it says on the top of it, Luther Cluck, family tomb, 1839. Now, the cemetery itself is from the late 1700s. It's the third oldest cemetery in Easthampton of the 5. And I will guess that the Clark family is inside there. It's hard to tell because one peculiarity that the front of it, made of granite, it looks a different look from the entablature of the name. And so you wonder where a true placement was going to be. Was it on top? Was it brought from another place and put here? I don't know. It's a very strange look to it. So I'll have to figure that out for you. And of course, the Clark family is a very common name around Easthampton too. And we're going to spin it around twice. The first time I'll tell you some of the features of the cemetery. We're going to have a drive-through tour also. It's very small. All right, so this tomb is right here, a flag in front. And some of the oldest burials are to its left-hand side. All right, you have 1848, 1871, and then some 1900s. And towards the front, you're starting to get the very oldest of all, though. All right, and as you go to the middle front, that's with the very oldest. They're almost impossible to read now. That's too bad. Easthampton does a Community Preservation Act, and a grant for these cemeteries might help greatly. But you can see you're starting to hit the brownstone ones. And once you hit the brownstone ones, you know that you're very late 1700s and very early 1800s. And there's a lot of them there. I can see some of them very close to us now. And at least a lot of them are still up. There's one over there which was broken, and they put an iron post around the back of it. Right, the Ferry family is in front of us. The Parson family is also around here. Very common family within Easthampton. And then as you spin towards the back, it starts to get an empty spot back there. But some of the modern burials are also back there. And lastly, we will come back to where the Clark tomb is. So it's a small cemetery, only maybe a few thousand, like 2,000 burials within it, and most of them might not even have gravestones. So I hope you come to visit to get a sense of what it's like. All right, thank you very much.